Despite the recent slowdown in foreclosures around the country, many homeowners still have problems with paying lenders. Some of them are looking for help from the private sector with some risk and some expense. Another alternative is the free help offered by nonprofits such as Nuestra Communidad Development Corporation. I'd like to welcome as our guest from Nuestra, the foreclosure prevention specialist, Amelia Hill. Thank you very much for being with us, Amelia.
Thank you.
First of all, you have an event coming up next week. It's about foreclosure prevention and some other things.
It's actually just this Monday. It's going to be at 6 o'clock at the Dudley Square Library, and what we're going to be focusing on is just helping Boston homeowners. My job, and the one we'll be talking about as well, is the foreclosure prevention, helping people get workouts with their lenders. But the other issues too are really important, such as helping people with weatherization. There's a lot of money out there for helping people weatherize their homes. Nuestra is running one such program with Renew Boston. And so we're going to be talking about that. The other really important issue, especially in Boston with our sort of older housing stock, is home repairs. And especially with the economy, a lot of homeowners, they might be able to make their mortgage payments on time, but they're not able to, fix what's needed. So we're going to be talking about home repair assistance.
Now, weatherization, let's start with how much it can save homeowners, because we're talking about a lot of older homes here, right?
Yeah, that is really, it's tricky to measure. The figures I've typically heard are somewhere between 15 to 30%, depending on the type of work you have done, depending on what you needed to have done before. So it's a difficult thing to measure, though.
But how much help can a homeowner get? Because some of the work in weatherization, it could be pretty expensive, at least if it's done the ordinary way.
Yes. Well, there are things that they offered that are just completely free. Coming in, giving you free light bulbs, for example. There are, for people who qualify, they can come in and blow insulation into your walls, things like that for free. Now, if you have a much older home and it turns out that you need to completely revamp your heating system, there are grants and interest-free, interest-deferred loans that they can give you for, I believe it's up to $10,000 or $15,000. So, and that it really depends on whether you qualify. So the good thing about this event is that they'll sit down with you, look at your income, and there are lots of programs out there. So.
Talk about some of the things you offer in foreclosure prevention, because I think right now, maybe the first thing you might want to get across is who should be coming to ask for this help? Well,
really, we encourage anybody who is just feeling like they're not, like their mortgage payment is just getting difficult to make. So that includes people who actually haven't fallen behind yet. So we help quite a few homeowners who are still current.
Now, I imagine some people might have a fairly high-cost mortgage, high interest rates, and since they got that mortgage, maybe it might have been the case that their property now is worth less than what they owe the lenders. So
unfortunately, that's the majority of our clients.
Can they get some help?
Absolutely. In fact, having a home that is worth less than your mortgage can actually make, in some cases, it can make getting a loan modification easier. Because what it does is it gives the investor more of an incentive to want to modify your loan. For people who actually do have equity in their home, they have the option that they can actually sell their home and potentially make a profit. For people who are underwater, modification is really the best, in a lot of cases, the best way to go.
And with modifications, does that also include a break on the principal?
No. Well, modification is typically a lowering of the interest rate and potentially an extension of the term. If the homeowner was delinquent, it can include capitalizing the arrears, basically taking what you owe, adding it to the back of the loan. A modification can also include keeping the interest rate the same, but just taking what you owe and adding it to the back. So you could potentially end up with higher payments. So that's a modification. The Treasury had announced a principal reduction program, but it has not really gotten off the ground, and we have not seen a lot of homeowners benefit from it.
So let's suppose the homeowner gets a loan modified. You say, yes, it might kick things more down the road, but for the time being, there could be a pretty dramatic drop in the monthly payments.
Absolutely. We've seen people have their monthly payments, because there's a new program through the Department of Treasury. Well, it's not really new anymore. It was announced in March 2009. It's the Making Home Affordable program. People also know it by the Obama plan. And this program basically gives servicers an incentive that if the homeowner qualifies, it will reduce their mortgage payments down to 31% of their gross monthly income. And the way they get that payment down to 31% is that they can reduce the interest rate down to as low as 2%. They can extend the term of the loan to 40 years. And they can actually take a chunk of your loan and not charge you interest on it. And it's still part of your loan, but your payments are lower because you're not paying on the full balance. So those things, that restructuring of the loan definitely gives people a nice 5-year break. After those 5 years, it will eventually increase.
Now, at the other end of the spectrum, you might have some homeowners, and they are very deep in the hole, and maybe they should try to look for an exit strategy, I guess, right?
Yeah, we do counsel homeowners on things like short sales, and there's another program called the Deed in Lieu, which is where they can voluntarily give their house back to the bank, and it can protect their credit a little bit from the stigma of foreclosure. It can be can help the homeowner sort of feel more in control of the process, because foreclosure is just such a devastating thing, both emotionally and financially.
Now, as I mentioned a little while back, you have some competition out there, not just from CDCs, but also from people in the private sector. I don't think they're all crooks necessarily, but
No.
I guess they'll charge you some more money.
Well, I mean, it's expensive work, frankly, and we're very grateful to the City of Boston and Mayor Menino. I mean, they've allowed us to continue this type of work. Obviously, I'm sure there are for-profit corporations that actually do a good job, but the thing is that we know that they are doing the exact same thing that we and other nonprofits are doing, except that the homeowners are actually paying them to do it. So ultimately, the modification is up to the investor of the loan. So.
Yeah. I want to ask you, though, about the event on Monday night, because if people are going to look for help, it might mean that they will follow up even after that meeting. But if there's anything that they should bring to get things started?
No. Well, if they have a sense of their monthly budget, that's great. Bring a budget. If you have a sense of what your income is, that can help you figure out where you can get assistance with these different weatherization programs. But if you just come with nothing, we will sit down with you one-on-one, and we'll figure things out with you.
And we should mention the time and place exactly?
Yes, it's 6 o'clock at the Dudley Square Library in Roxbury.
Thank you very much for being with us. Amelia Hill from Nuestra Communidad.
Thank you.
Up next, the arts segment with Chris Harding after this message.